Hey, today on The Bridge, we're highlighting a new collaboration between the Richland School District's Early Learning Center and Second Harvest, aimed at making food more accessible to families right where they already are. Join us. You don't want to miss this one. Welcome to The Bridge. We're a podcast focused on connecting our community through meaningful conversations, partnerships, and solutions that make a difference, and we're so glad you're here with us. My name is Krista Hill, your host, and today we're talking about what happens when education and food access come together in a really practical and powerful way. We're highlighting a new collaboration in our area between the Richland School District's Early Learning Center and Second Harvest. This collaboration is aimed at making food more accessible to families right where they already are. Our two guests with us today are Julie McDougall, the Early Learning Center principal. Julie McDougall is a principal of the Early Learning Center for the past 5 years. During that time, the Early Learning Center has grown in meaningful ways, expanding opportunities for their youngest learners and strengthening the foundation for their future success. Julie emphasizes that what makes their center so special is the community behind it. The Early Learning Center has been fortunate to partner with amazing families, dedicated volunteers, and supportive community members who believe in the importance of early learning. Their time, energy, commitment have helped shape a place where children can learn, explore, and thrive. We're thrilled to have Julie as part of our conversation today as she shares the impact of early learning and the heart behind the role of the ELC in our community. Welcome, Julie. We're so happy to have you. And also our second guest is Jonna Jorgensen. She is a senior leader at Second Harvest, and we are thrilled to have her as well. She has spent her career at the intersection of communication, community, and purpose, and now she's bringing that experience to the fight against hunger in our region. Jonna Jorgensen serves as Regional Executive Director of Second Harvest Tri-Cities, where she leads regional strategy with a focus on marketing, community awareness, and bringing lasting partnerships across the Columbia Basin. Since joining Second Harvest in January of 2026, she has been working to deepen the organization's connections with donors, partners, and the community it serves, ensuring the vulnerable children, families, and seniors have reliable access to nutritious food. A lifelong Columbia Basin resident, I actually found out she was born and raised in Grandview. Love that valley. And she's a Gonzaga University graduate. Jonna brings both professional expertise and personal connection to this mission. We're thrilled to have you. But Julie, let's start with you and Early Learning Center. So tell us everything that you would like to about the Early Learning Center.
Well, the Early Learning Center is just this fantastic little gem that a lot of people don't even know about in our community because it's kind of little, but it's expanded in the last several years. We have almost 400 students now at the Early Learning Center, and all of our students are between ages 3 and 5. The goal for the Early Learning Center really is to meet kids to get their specific needs met. So it could be environmental needs, it could be specific learning needs that they have, and just we're really focused on supporting the whole child, and that includes family, community, environment. And I have a village of people, and I'm so blessed to work with this village of people who just really all truly believe in helping our entire family. And that's why this community partnership has been so vital, because we know that if we're not helping the whole family, that our students are going to struggle, right? And so that's been why this community partnership has been so valuable to us, because our focus is really on supporting the whole child development.
That is awesome. So you don't know this about me, but I have a sister who lives in Boise, and I know that's not Richland, but she, with her family, there's a lot of need in her family. And so her children have all gone through their version of the Early Learning Center. And what you just said really resonates with me, because I've watched that. I've watched that organization wrap their arms around her whole family. And while her children in their high need situation have developed, I've actually watched my sister, who is a slow learner, and she has a lot of disabilities, but I've watched her develop in ways that would not have happened without that as well. And I really appreciate that about what you guys do.
It's the village and the early learning community. I think that that is the cool part about early learning in general, is because we just know how valuable it is to really partner with the families. And I think that matter of fact, for instance, I just had a huge audit for our ECAT program. And
what's ECAT?
So our Early Childhood and Assistance Program, which is what funds most of our early learning program. And the other part that funds it is our special education. And so we partner together to serve most of our students. And so we had that audit, and part of it is where all of the staff members leave the room and the parents give feedback to the programs, which is a really cool opportunity for parents to really feel open and honest about, what is going great about the program and what are things that they wish that we would improve on.
What a great counsel.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It was really cool. And so after it, they gave me notes of the meeting, and the one thing that came through with every single parent is that they really wish that this model of the family support would follow throughout their entire educational career. And I just thought how powerful that really is. And so it's been an interesting journey for us to learn, it's natural to us, right? And so we just don't know the difference because we don't necessarily do the K-12 world, and so we were like, oh, we didn't realize that isn't necessarily something that isn't normal, because that's just what we do.
Special.
Yeah.
That is really cool. How do parents or how do families know to connect with you? Do they reach out and find you? Does the school district know who they are and reach out and find them? Like, how do you get connected with them?
So we work partnership with a lot of our medical community, with our CPS, with the schools in general. And then I have this amazing group of family advocates. Man, they're amazing. And they go into communities and do events and coordinate and meet and go into like apartment buildings and, hand out flyers and do all different things to try to get as many kids as we possibly can. So yeah, we hit the ground running, and we really do try to get every kid that we can. So
your family advocates that you're saying, are those employees of the ELC? Are they volunteer?
No, they're employees of the ELC.
What a cool job.
Yes, and they're fantastic at their job because it really does meet families where they are, right? In homes and apartment buildings. We have families that are homeless, and so we're trying to access wherever they are, and just give them the resources and supports that they need. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Anything that in your experience these 5 years being here, anything surprised you about the community pleasantly or unpleasantly?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have so many great community partnerships. Coming here in Richland has been amazing to work with so many of the great community partnerships that we have. But I've been surprised about in the last 2 years about really how many families are facing the poverty piece and the trauma based around that, especially now with the prices of groceries and things like that have increased so much. The anxiety that our families are facing to just afford their basic essentials right now has been the highest need right now for our families, which is one of the reasons that we kind of collaborated with this partnership, because we know how much of an anxiety and how much stress is coming from our families that are facing trying to make basic needs affordable, honestly. So,
mom thought that just popped in my head. I wish I would have known when my kids were younger. So I've got 4 kids. My baby is 15, and so I'm just about to be an empty nester. I wish I would have known 20 years ago how much my emotional state affected the house. They just absorb it, and nobody's doing anything wrong. I think it's just a human nature thing. And so as you're speaking, that's what is resonating with me of, I could see how when mom and dad are stressed about food and money, that child knows it, whether or not they say it out loud.
Absolutely. And you can see it on the kids' reactions and things like that. And so that's why it's so important for us to have these partnerships to just give the kids the security and know that they're going to have something at home. So, yeah. And
then directly that affects their learning, because if I'm understanding right, your goal is that they are set up for success when they go into kindergarten. Am I understanding that?
Yes. Okay. 110%. Yeah, that's our goal. And so if that is just meeting their basic needs and helping them feel secure at this moment, then that's our goal for them. Every family is individualized and every family has different needs, but some of the basic needs are our main goals right now for a lot of our families. So
I am loving your family focus vibe so much. Jonna, let's bring you in. Love the organization that you get to work with Second Harvest. Tell us everything you would like to share about Second Harvest. If I just stepped in this room and I'd never heard of Second Harvest before, Tell me about it.
Oh, I'm happy to. I love it as well. There's a lot of misperceptions about Second Harvest too, so I'm happy to explain what we do.
Please.
But we are essentially like a food bank to all of the 250 plus food banks in all of Eastern Washington and Northern Idaho. So while a lot of people know some of our specific programs, they're not always aware of what the breadth is of the area that we're servicing. So out of Pasco, so we have a location in Spokane, we have a location in Pasco, and out of Pasco we're supporting 9 different counties in Central and Eastern Washington, and basically we're doing a lot of grocery rescue, we're doing farm rescue, we're bringing food in from all of these different sources where they would otherwise go to waste, go to landfills, and we're diverting that food back into the communities who need it. So we provide mobile markets, which is like a drive-through market. There's no registration, no qualification requirements. We do those all throughout Eastern and Central Washington, especially in rural areas that don't always have reliable food pantries. Or that are open very often. So we're taking big trucks out to these communities, we're setting up, and we will serve 200 to 300 families in one drive-through event. We're doing that almost every day of the week. We also have a Bite to Go program, which is weekend meals for students. So we partner with schools like the ELC and other elementary schools, and they're wonderful volunteers come pick up prepackaged bags of snacks that are child appropriate. So the volunteers at the school will load those discreetly into backpacks. But honestly, the kids are usually so stinking excited and proud.
Love them.
They want to show it off,
Yes.
like for sure.
And so that is handled in Pasco, and like for example, the ELC would go pick it up from your place in Pasco.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
A volunteer comes
very cool.
once a month, picks up the prepackaged packs, and then they
Very
get
cool.
distributed at schools. So that's one way that we're supporting kids, so that over the weekend when they're not able to rely on the meals that they get at school, they have something to get them through. And then we're also doing what we call Zilch, which is in Spokane we have actually a Zilch market, but at both locations we do what are called Zilch drops. So Zilch is our program that really ensures that no food goes to waste. So when we receive food that is usually grocery rescue, it's close to date, it's maybe not acceptable for grocery retail because it doesn't fit some standard.
Some regulation needs to be hit. Yeah.
Yeah, and what you see in a grocery store is the prettiest of the food.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
It's not all the
Especially
edible
Costco.
food that's available.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. So there is a lot of food that is perfectly edible, but it might be an odd shape or a ding in it or whatever.
Sure.
That food is completely acceptable to eat. So that food that needs to be on someone's table within the week is what we will redistribute quickly through Zilch drops. So we have a number of smaller partners like the ELC, senior living facilities, domestic violence shelters, low-income housing, where we're bringing that food directly to the location where the community already exists and making a drop there, and the volunteers at those centers are then distributing that food out right away. So it's super quick turn. It's getting the food from us into the communities where people already exist, preventing that waste and getting them what they need to get them through the next several days. So a lot of times those are families and communities who aren't maybe necessarily visiting a pantry, or maybe have a lot of barriers to access visiting a food bank or a pantry. And so we
And when
get
you
to
say
come
barriers,
to them.
maybe like transportation
Exactly.
to get there,
Yep.
or
Yep.
I can't think of another one right now, but
Yes.
that's what you mean by barriers.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Sometimes disability access.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Number of volunteers to make those transportation runs for them. That kind of thing.
Even mental health, just fear of leaving the house.
Absolutely.
Oh, interesting. So the logistics of that, I won't lie. Again, my mom brain is kicking in, is blowing my mind, because the turnaround on some of this must be extremely quick.
Yes.
Is it a high stress situation to be in, or do you feel like structures are in place that you're a pretty well oiled machine?
We are a pretty dang well-oiled machine.
I believe it. You would have to be.
What you would be surprised.
You're popping Tums in the background.
We do all of this out of Pasco with 12 people and an army of
Okay,
volunteers.
that was my next question: is what's your staff?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's very
continue.
small.
I would love to know.
Yeah, it's very small. So it's, but there's no extra. What makes us run though is we have a lot of volunteers. So it's
That's
the
amazing.
volunteers that we call them on we call places on Wednesday and we say, we've got a drop ready tomorrow. Can you take it? Usually the answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We let the volunteers know. get the food ready at our dock. The volunteers show up on Thursday morning, load it up, and they drive it out to the different locations to meet more volunteers or staff members who are ready to receive it. The trucks of food that we receive weekly from Farm and Grocery Rescue, every single day there are volunteers that are showing up at noon every day to sort that food quickly so that it's ready to go out as soon as the next day on a mobile market. We turn food around very quickly. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, we'll just always continue to figure out ways to do that and to do it creatively. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Sorry, I got totally into that, and so now let me look at my questions. Just so you know, I love having a conversation with you women. This is so fun. Okay. Sorry, I have a little list of questions, and I feel like we've done a really good job of going through. What are some immediate needs that you see in the community right now in Tri-Cities?
So just like Julie mentioned, there is a lot of hidden stress existing in our community right now. People are, in a lot of ways, sort of suffering silently, not finding themselves in situations they may have never expected and didn't see themselves being in. Where
that breaks my heart.
Yeah, and who didn't expect to see themselves in a difficult situation. For most people, we are only one crisis, one hardship away from really having to make impossible trade-offs. And that's where people are finding themselves now, figuring out, when you're facing a sudden job loss or an illness, or you're all of a sudden taking in an ill family member or grandparents, maybe you're taking on children from another family to care for, and everything just gets stretched incredibly thin, and you're making decisions you never thought you would have to make. And that emotional stress, that undercurrent that you talked about as a mom feeling, the whole house feels that. So yes, it is housing, it is grocery prices, it is gas prices, it is job loss, it is all of that that is existing. It's always existed here, but it's really reaching into more households that they probably didn't expect to find themselves in that position. So that's kind of where this wraparound service comes from with the ELC. They're looking at the whole family, and we get to be one piece of that. If we get to load someone's trunk up for the week and it's one less thing to worry about for the next few days, then we're on to something, and we'll just keep doing that for as long as we possibly can, for as many people as we possibly can.
That is amazing. This is a great time to actually, let's talk about your collaboration. Yeah. Let's jump to that. How did it get started? How do you feel it's going? And I might jump in with some more questions as I learn. Yeah.
Well, it kind of got started because one of our family advocates who was doing the snack pickup, basically, found out about this Zilch program, and she came to me and she was like, okay, so I know about this program, and I maybe asked a few questions about this.
I love the proactive.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
give this woman a cookie.
Exactly. And she was like, hey, I think we could make this happen. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Like, if we can give access to more families and get kids and families what they need, like, I'll do anything and everything, right? And so we were like, okay, we'll stumble through this and we'll figure it out. So we met with your team and they were like, okay, let's figure out a drop site. Let's do this. And we just kind of made it happen. And so, it just kind of started, and we've progressed and learned along the way, like what works better for families, and, how to unload the materials. We have like an assembly line now of volunteers and staff members. It's hilarious. So when we know, they call us about 15 minutes before they're coming, right? And so we get on our walkie, anyone who is not working with children, please meet us at the front, right? And so we have this like assembly line of like adults to get it into our gym area. And then we have like tables set up and families like donate, you know, everyone does like Walmart groceries and things like that now. So they like donate their bags to us. So we get little bags. And so families can go shopping into the
extra
spaces.
thick ones now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we get the bags, and then we have, you know, times that families can come in and during pickup and drop off and things like that. Because we try to make it accessible during the times that they would already be coming. No extra trips, you know, those kinds of things.
Heaven.
Yeah, exactly. And so they get their bag and they get to go shopping. And so it's just an amazing, amazing experience. And I can't tell you guys how many times, sorry, I might get emotional, how many times I have families that just break down because they are just so grateful to have access to food and healthy food for their kids and their families. Sorry.
Because no apologies needed.
Because you don't understand how many times they go and they get like macaroni and cheese and things like that, and they're like, this is not what I want to be feeding my kids right now. And so just having those kind of conversations with families is why we do our jobs and, you know, and all of the things that we do to help and support. So, sorry.
I want to turn the time over to Jonna to respond to that as well. But with what you just shared, something that just like popped into my head and heart is just how much, I'm sure it's true of all of us, that we wish we could take the heart away. We totally, like whether for our kids or for our neighbors, or like, I just wish we could take the heart away, and that's not our job. We can't. But we can love, and we can support, and we can mourn with those that mourn. And oh my goodness, just to have someone be seen and felt, that's amazing opportunity.
And the way that
and
the
with food.
ownership.
Things are always better with food.
Exactly. And they get to have their ownership, right? And so, you know, they get to come in and they get to shop, and they get to pick the things that, you know, is best for their family. Like it's not prepackaged for them, you know, like, oh, my kids probably won't eat that, so I want to save that for another family who can access that, right? Like those kinds of things are so valuable to families, so that they don't feel like it's more designed like for them. It's more that they get to pick on their own, if that makes sense. So that part of it has been really vital. So
I love that.
Yeah. The dignity and autonomy of that is really important.
I love that dignity and autonomy.
You know, as a parent, like you're doing everything you can. So it's really important the way that the ELC has set this up to meet people where they already are. They're already in a trusted environment. It's built into their day and their routine, and they're met with a bunch of, you know, wonderful, loving, helpful people on the other end to be there for them. So, and you're right, a lot of it is fresh grocery. So it is fresh fruits and vegetables, things that are often expensive. They're often first sacrificed because they're not as shelf stable. And oftentimes, if you don't get to pick for yourself, you might end up with a whole bunch of stuff that you just, as much as you want your kids to eat it, you know it's going to end up not being eaten. And so you get to kind of choose from what's available that fits your family's needs, dietary needs, etc., based on what shows up that week. You know, it's unpredictable, but at least there's usually some variety that comes in. So,
Earlier when you guys were talking, I was thinking about when life gets really hard, it's like your world shrinks. And I think it's just the way it happens. Nobody's doing anything wrong, but your world kind of shrinks. So you get sort of in this scarcity mindset. And what I'm loving about what I'm learning is you're giving them this vision of abundance, that they are empowered with a choice, to be empowered as a mom or a dad, to be empowered to make choices for their family. That is such a gift that they can't give themselves. And just to remember, you are an amazing person and can choose and be in control of your own family. Like that speaks to me. I love that so much.
We're only doing the work of making it accessible, and it's still that parent who's feeding their family one way or another. So it's still them that gets to show up and provide for their family through the resources that thankfully have been made available. So we're working together to make that happen. But it doesn't happen without people showing up and volunteers helping out, staff members helping out. So it really does take a village. And you know, that's kind of the interesting thing about food banking is if you've ever been that kind of person who would want to take someone a meal when they're sick, who would want to knock on a neighbor's door and bring them flowers or take them something. But we're all strapped for time. We can't always do that in our day. It's not always practical. There's people in your community who have needs, but you might not know them personally. This is one way to do that, to know that the reach that we have is quite vast and quite far, but there's still a lot of need left. The ELC is really on the forefront in our community of providing weekend meals for kids through Bite to Go, providing for families through the Zilch program. I will share with you, in our location in Spokane County, every single school in Spokane County has the Bite to Go program for weekend meals for kids. Wow. Every single one, including Head Start programs. In Benton and Franklin County and Yakima County, we are only in 25 total schools. And if you think about, the numbers, the level of poverty that children are experiencing in the schools that we have, you hear the number 1 in 5, but really in some of our schools, it is so much higher than that. And it's up to us as a community really to wrap our arms around these kids and these schools and support them, sponsor them, and be able to lift up these kids who are, it's not their choice, right? It's not their choice if they have been in a situation where they are experiencing food insecurity. Their families are doing everything they possibly can, but they still feel it. And they can't go out and shop, they can't go out and get jobs, they can't do anything about it. So it's up to us as a community to step in and do what we can, like the ELC is doing. Yeah.
So Jonna, what is slowing that down? What is slowing down the saturation of that in our schools?
I think part of it is honestly awareness. We live in a very, we're a farm-rich community. We see crops growing every day. We live amongst them. We drive amongst them. We live kind of in an area of agricultural abundance, and I think we don't always see that we have actually quite a bit of food insecurity in the homes in this area. So part of it, I think, is the awareness of that, and just being able to connect that awareness and that experience of need with the people who want to do something about it. I think there's just a disconnect. And honestly, the podcast like this, The Bridge, that's exactly the mission, is connecting the community.
So saying to our listeners,
like
share.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue.
But I think it's a very easy yes. There are different organizations and churches who will say, I'm in. It only takes $5 to sponsor.
Oh, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Is it a funding thing as well? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So the funding model for Bite to Go is very simple. It's $5 a kid each month, so it's very simple. It's very straightforward. It's restricted funds.
Did you say $5 a kid per month?
Yeah.
Did I? Okay, sorry, continue. Sorry.
Yep.
Thanks.
Did I say that right? No.
Oh.
$5 a week. So $5 a week. So in total, for how many school days there are, it's like $160 a child for the whole school year to have weekend meals. $160. You couldn't, in one grocery trip, that's going to be gone in a week, So it's a really direct investment. It's low cost, but that provides for one child for the whole school year. And then we rely on donors to really show up year round so that summer hunger gap doesn't exist, and we can keep providing for families in other ways throughout the year. But I think, once people kind of know about how simple these programs are to implement and to fund, it's a pretty easy yes, because we've been doing this for years. We will always find a way to make it happen and make it easy as possible for you. But it's just kind of that awareness of who can step in and sponsor a school, sponsor a single kid. You can also do that as an individual. You can, if you like my kids go to Lincoln Elementary, and so I can actually select Lincoln Elementary and I can donate $5 a week or a month and choose a kid at Lincoln to receive that. So you can even direct your funds if you wanted to a specific school, if you're a parent who wanted to do that.
Is that something the community can call Second Harvest and do? They can go on your website
and do it right through our website. Mm-hmm.
Man, so easy.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys take care of all the headache. You just need funds.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
The funds come in. It's restricted funding. That means none of it goes to anything else. It doesn't go to overhead. It doesn't go to operational costs. It goes directly to the Bite to Go food and program, and we take care of the rest. All you have to have is a volunteer to show up and pick it up, and that's it. So it's,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then we got into that awesome conversation, and now I'm like, what?
Well, I wanted to let you know, too.
Please add, Julie.
Probably. So Jefferson Elementary is now part of this because they were able to come over and watch us. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, you guys know about this program. Come watch us do it. And so they brought a team over and they came watch. And
are you talking about the Zilch program? Or you're talking about the Bite to Go?
The Zilch program,
I had no idea.
Yeah, so I partnered with them and I just said, hey, you guys need to find out about this program. Like, come watch us one Thursday. So they came over and they watched, and then they reached out. And so I think that it's
I had no idea.
That's how it happened.
Exactly. And so that's how it all came to be. Yeah. So it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
So news to me. This is very cool. So do they both happen on Thursday at Jefferson and here? So it's the same drop off for you for Second Harvest, and both school communities get blessed by it.
Yep.
That's awesome. I'm sitting here going, I need to check with them and see if they want volunteers.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Julie, will you walk through for us what coming to volunteer with that looks like and what is required? Because I know it's a little more complicated than just saying I want to do it and show up.
Absolutely. So the Richland School District requires us to do a background check, and so there's a little link on our district website that you just fill out, and then you have to take a picture of your driver's license and upload that, and then it takes about 2 weeks for it to get cleared. Sometimes it's faster than that, but sometimes it's not. And so then once that comes back cleared, then we're able to have our volunteers come in and just be a part of unloading and greeting families and just helping families shop and answer questions.
There's got to be a great energy in all of that.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. It's like my favorite part of Thursday is just like welcoming the families in and just seeing their happy faces afterwards. And you know, the kids are so excited about like, this week it was bananas, right? And so our kids were so excited to leave with a banana, you know what I mean? Like in early learning, those are kind of the huge things, right? They ended their day with a thing of bananas and were walking to the car, you know? I mean, those are the fun things.
And they're proud as punch.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yep. We actually have a lot of times, you know, people who have experienced this as a child, they end up finding themselves right in food banking. And so we have several people, you know, who are either staff members or who are donors or who have adopted a school who wish that they had those programs when they were growing up, you know, who instead like had to have food that was locked up so that they didn't eat it before the week ended, or, you know, who parents would send them to a friend's house, right, to be able to eat and things like that. Like, who wish that they had this when they were in school.
Heart. I mean, it's so smart, awesome, but it also breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Jonna.
No, that's okay. But just that excitement that kids have around food, you just really take it for granted until you see what a difference it makes for them. I will tell this one story that just gets me every time. But this wasn't from this school, but in our Bite to Go program. But one kid who was receiving his snacks and weekend meals bag every week, you know, every Friday. And the thing about what we put in those bags is they are almost all name brand items. They're things that kids want to participate in and be able to say that they had when they were a kid, right? So it's name brand snack items. He saved...
I love that, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, he saved some of these snacks and hid them away in his room a little bit from every week, because he knew that if he saved up enough of them, that when his birthday came in the spring, he would have enough to bring to school to bring snacks for his class, because he knew his family had never been able to bring snacks for his birthday in the past. So he saved some of his snacks every single week. By the time the spring rolled around, he had one to give back to every kid in his class.
Oh my goodness.
So just what a heart, right?
Yeah,
like what a heart.
I love
so
that.
impressed. Like, leave it to kids to show us, you know, what really matters and how to serve each other and how to love each other well. So I love that story. Yeah,
that's amazing.
You had mentioned earlier, Julie, did I interrupt you just
now?
No,
that was amazing. Yeah,
you had mentioned earlier about that folks who have grown up in a situation like that at some point, now they've grown into adults where they give back. And I have to say, I had a chunk of time like that in my elementary school years. So my dad was getting his PhD, and there was a lot of hope in the future. But that was 4 or 5 years where we had nothing, and we were a family of 6 kids. And I remember at that time, it wasn't the Zilch program, but we had free lunch. And on one hand, I look back on it as an adult and, oh, what a gift. Like, how awesome that we had that solid lunch every day. And there was some stigma attached to it, for sure. And, like, our lunch card was a different color than everyone else's lunch card. Not my favorite thing. And this is, okay, I have an older sister that I would make her stand in line for me and go get mine on Monday morning and go get my lunch card on Monday morning. And I was a little girl, and bless her heart for doing that to me. I love my sister. But there was an embarrassment to it. There was. And I grew out of it, which was good. And now I love celebrating anything that helps families get on their feet. But there is a stigma attached to it, and there's no way around it. Do you guys find that? And a sort of a open question to either one of you. Do you find that, and how is it overcome?
So at the Early Learning Center, because we've made it accessible to a lot, like all of our families, we've alleviated that a lot for our families. And so,
and actually that's brilliant.
And so by doing that,
nobody is set apart.
Exactly.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're 100% correct. Like, no one is set apart, and really, like, I presented it to families as we all are in this situation right now where food has become something that we're working to earn right now. And so we want to help all of you. It doesn't matter, where we are or, how much we're making right now. Like, we're all in this together. And so by creating that kind of partnership, we have eliminated a lot of that for our families. And so that has created a really good atmosphere. The other really cool part about early learning is that whatever resources that we have, our families can access them at any given time. And so our families know that about the Early Learning Center. And so there is no judgment, it's just our community environment. And so because we've created that, I feel like our families are just knowing that that's a part of our community, and there's no stigma or any anxiety based on that. And so there has been a couple times where some of our newer families that haven't been part of our community, like, hey, I don't know if I should access this or not, right? And so I'm like, hey, let me go with you. You know what I mean? And so just partnering alongside of them and just creating that environment where everyone is shopping and everyone is, become a part of that. Because at the Early Learning Center, we have so many families that are in based on what they're making, because that's one of our qualifying factors, or because they have significant, their kiddo has qualified for a disability or things like that. And so we know that a lot of times our families are not working because they're at home caring for their, kiddos or things like that. And so just partnering together and creating that has created that wonderful community for us.
Do you watch the shame leave them as they walk in the room and get the vibe?
Yes, absolutely. It's amazing. And a lot of our families have just said how this has been such a great resource to them because they don't feel like they have to go to other resources and feel that anxiety and stress based on that. So they don't have to take their kid to another location to pick up food. They get to go to one location, have their kids shop with them,
and it's a location that already feels like home.
Exactly, and create something healthy and have that for their family.
Awesome. So, Jonna, what do you think?
It's exactly right, and that's one of the beauty that exists in the Zilch program is that we are meeting people where they already are, right? So in senior living facilities, they're safe, they're comfortable, they don't have a long distance to go. At schools like this, or people are already here, they're already in a place where their kid is comfortable. It doesn't feel, weird or scary or anything like that. And we're changing the conversation about it through people like Julie and the other volunteers that we work with. And same thing in our mobile markets. So our mobile markets they're drive-through. They are no registration required, no proof of need, no proof of which city you're a resident in, and we just are fortunate not to have those barriers. So you can park yourself in line.
That didn't even occur to me what city you were in, actually. Like, there is quite a unifying thing about Tri-Cities. Sorry, go ahead. Continue. I interrupted you.
No, that's fine. But some food banks do have, certain restrictions where they can only serve people who are in their city of residence. So we're fortunate that we don't have that barrier. We don't check how many times you've come to a mobile market, anything like that. So the hardest part is waiting in line. But, we try our best to make that go as quickly as possible. But you're in your own car, you're comfortable, you can sit in there, move through the line. And then once you get up to the line, you're greeted. And
these are your mobile drive-through food distributions. Oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah. And so you're greeted and welcomed, and then every person that you interact with as you're going through is waving to you, telling you to have a good day. As much interaction or as little as you possibly want to have. You can just roll on through, open your trunk, get to the end, close your trunk, and off you're on your way. So it's just making it a lot. You're not worried about where am I going to park? What is it like inside? Are they going to ask me a bunch of questions? And what paperwork am I going to, it's just trying to remove as many.
Myself?
Yes, exactly. So it's just removing a lot of those barriers to make it easy to come in. And I think we just need to change the conversation about this. It's not that scarcity mindset. It is abundance. There is abundance. And we just are doing,
that makes me tear up.
Yeah, we're just doing the job of spreading it around and it's like if you have a garden that is overflowing with tomatoes, right? You're not just going to toss them. Like, you might take them to work. You might take them to school. You might, take them to church with you and set them out for other people to take. Drop them off to your neighbor. It's the same principle, just at scale. So the abundance exists. We just need to redirect it to the people who could use it right now, who aren't able to make those regular large grocery trips and could use a little hand up. That's all it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
That really speaks to me.
Yep.
I have final 2 questions for each of you to take a turn on. Is there anything that we haven't talked about yet that you would like to? And also, for our volunteer community, how can we connect with you? And what do you need? So this is your chance.
Yeah.
Either one of you.
Well, I am just so grateful for this partnership. And so many of the other partnerships we have with our volunteers from, Just Serve and, any of our parent volunteers. We have parents that are in the program that are volunteering to help also, so which is really, really cool. To help and support and give back. So that's just amazing. But we can always use volunteers to help and support. And then we've had families from within our community, like just within the Richland community, that have reached out to us about what are some things that the ELC needs. And, we're trying to develop, we've started this year of just developing just a really nice pantry and food and, just basic need care closet for, the families that come in. We have a lot of families who have just moved in due to just different situations, and we want to be able to just help them get their basic needs met from the minute that they walk in the door, from just little things like toothbrushes and, deodorant, just little things like that.
Oh, that didn't even occur to me.
Yeah, just little basic things that, we take for granted every day that they wouldn't have access to in that moment. But they're trying to get their kiddo what they need, and we want to make sure that we can give them a start bag, right, of just some basic things. And so those are kind of the major things that we're working on right now as part of our volunteer journey. So yeah.
That's amazing. No, seriously, I love everything about that.
I love that. Let's see, as far as volunteering, it's easy to sign up on our website. We have people who can come in and sign up for a food sort. So that's where we're bringing in the bulk food, and you're quickly sorting it. We've got the music blasting. You're working next to neighbors and having, random conversations and moving food really quickly into boxes and bags that are ready to distribute. I will also say the food that gets sorted, anything that is inedible, we really do take it seriously to have no waste. So we have farmers who come pick that inedible food up and take it to their pigs and wherever else. So there really is absolutely no waste. Even the animals in our neighborhood get to benefit from this. But and then we also have people who will drive to do these Zilch drops for us. People who go out on the mobile markets and work at those, or people who just volunteer to come in and help in the warehouse. There's a variety of things that always need to be done, and we're always happy to have the helping hands. And then as far as keeping the operation going, that is really the thing that we're so grateful to have, especially in people who are monthly donors. And it is no amount too small, where that really sustains us for the ebbs and flows. So when community type crises happen, diesel prices, are skyrocketing, or government shutdowns, large layoffs, when COVID hit, things like that create these big surges and spikes in our community. It's really that commitment of people who are giving just a little bit monthly, or when they can, if that's their way of showing up, then that will keep the operation going to surge through all of those times. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, there are a variety of ways to show up. And if you're wanting to directly impact schools and the children in our community, get together with your organization, your neighborhood, your church, and adopt a school, and do get those $15 a month together and pick a school, reach out to us, and we will help you do the rest and make it happen. So if that's where your passion lies, is in supporting children, connect with us and we'll find a way to help you make it happen one way or another.
We know how to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, we will make the rest easy. You just tell us where you feel called to, and we'll be there. Yeah.
Awesome. Ladies, awesome conversation. Seriously, we so appreciate both of you being here with us. Thank you both for the work that you're doing and for joining us today on the bridge. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Conversations like this remind us that when schools, nonprofits, and communities come together, we can turn real challenges into real solutions. If you found this episode meaningful, if you would like to help, we will put links to how to connect with both of these awesome organizations in our show notes. We encourage you to click on and learn and develop and grab your friends and do it. We encourage you to share this with others and find ways to get involved in your community, even if it's not in this way. Also, if you are looking for ways to volunteer and find some purpose, we invite you to justserve.org. And we will see you next time on The Bridge.
Thank you so much, Krista. Thank you,
Are you
Julie.
kidding? This was a lot of fun. The only thing we were missing was Diet Coke.
Next time.
Exactly.